Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. Feeling pretty good this morning, all freshened up, got a haircut, gave the beard a nice trim. Feels good. Today in this video, I want to work on the deep sea area. I've been talking about relocating the deep sea area for quite some time because it's sort of buried behind the island now, and also our subway goes in front of it, so it doesn't really make sense. So I want to try and relocate that deep sea area right here. So today in this video, we're gonna build a new platform for it underneath the island, and we're gonna mills plate it and see what else we can get done. First things first, finish brewing a nice fresh coffee there. Thing is overflowing. Clean up the kitchen area a little bit there and have a look at the mountain. We're not gonna continue working on the mountain today because those parts are on the way, but I really want to. I'm so eager to get the second taller mountain built all the way up to here. And you know what? It could be even taller than that in the end, because you can see how fast we can go up using these rectangular rock panels. And if we start inverting and putting cliffs and stuff on it, it could go even higher. And I think the taller it is, the better it will be, because that Mountain View Observatory is pretty tall. But with that said, the Mountain View Observatory is larger than 32 by 32 studs. It's 32 by 38, I think. So it's gonna hang a little bit off that 32 by 32 stud Technic plate that I made on the top there. But I did go through and I reinforced the supports here just one way for now. So I used the Technic bricks there, 1x16s, 1x6s, and 1x4s, and pinned it all together. And then once we tack down the actual mountain to these bricks here and also to the top, well, then it's going to interlock it and make it pretty rock solid. But yeah, when our part orders arrive this week, we're going to continue building all the way up. It's going to be epic, and then we're going to get around to sloping this bad boy up as well. I'm so excited about it. We're going to slope it up so it looks like that, 360 degrees on both mountains, and we're going to start adding some more details to these ridges and stuff. It's going to be wild. And also the snow along the top as well. Man, I'm just pumped up about this project. It's so funny that this is chilling on the tables up here just because it looks so big. It's so cool. I just want to get it done. I want to see these things in the city. I can't wait. I'm just hyped on that. I'm also pretty excited about Mrs. Bricksie's little side projects, that being the mini modular buildings for the beach area. She came here yesterday while I looked after the kids at home and filmed her review on the fish and chip shop and started building this next modular building. A little sneak peek for you. Oh, spoiler alert. But she's doing great with that. So it's cool how we're able to split up the roles. You know, I'm working on mountains and construction projects for the deep sea area, and she's working on little mini modular buildings and little details throughout the city. Yeah, it really works out. First things first, we got to deconstruct the old deep sea area. I think it's going to be a lot better in its new position. But we've got to remove all of the loosely placed items there. Also the mills plates, which are probably all going to have to be rebuilt, and then just unscrew all of the wood as well, which I think for the most part is also going to have to be all modified because we're going to be building a deep sea area that is a different shape or size. Once I get that all done, I can go ahead and tidy up a little bit because it feels good to vacuum under there. It hasn't been vacuumed in a while. Now I've got to prep this space right over here underneath the island for the new deep sea area. So I got to push that cabinet back and put the other cabinet in front of it because we're no longer going to have cabinets under here. And when I remove that cabinet, you're going to see a bunch of stuff under there, that being instruction manuals, boxes, and bins full of Lego. And now I've got to measure it and figure out how big this thing is going to be. And I loosely placed some of the deep sea mills plates in there just so I can stand back and visualize how big this is going to be. How deep should it be? Should it be 3 base plates? How wide should it be? How wide can we make it in this area? The old one was 4.5 base plates wide by 5 base plates deep. And I honestly think it was a little bit too deep because we couldn't really see the back of the mills plates. So yeah, I think we are going to go with 3 base plates deep by 6 base plates wide. So yeah, it's not as deep, but you know what? When I look at it from my POV, this is right by my eyes here, I think I get the best visual when it's only 3 base plates deep because, for example, back there where you see the cardboard boxes would be water, and we'll see the water on the sides. So I think it all will work out in the end. Of course, we could make it 5 base plates deep like I did originally over there, but then I'd have to crouch down to see the details at the very back, and and actually get right in there because they would be so far back there. So I think we're gonna go with 3 base plates, especially when you consider the fact that we could technically expand it across this whole front here. So we do have more space, and it is 1.5 base plates wider. You know, we went from 4.5 to 6. So I think this is gonna work out. The next thing I need to do is reconstruct the wood surface for this, that being the background and also the elevation for it, because I don't want it to get completely covered in dust. It's a high traffic zone, so it needs to be lifted off the floor just a little bit. And of course, in order to create a new wood structure for this, I need to start from scratch essentially, because this is just a completely different dimension than the pre-existing deep sea area. And the issue is this right here is only 4.5 by 5 base plates. It's not just over 60 inches. So this piece of wood would have to be expanded if I want to use this, and I'd have to cut it. And I've got to do a bunch of cuts to accommodate this new layout. So of course, I hit up the old Bricksie wood pile, which actually isn't looking that big anymore, despite having this big stack here, I guess. Yeah, we got quite a bit. We're good to go. But that's sort of like a weird size. In order to best fit this, I needed lengths for the base that were at least 6 base plates long, because I only wanted it to be 2 pieces. I didn't want to Frankenstein like a whole bunch of different pieces together to create the base. So this is sort of what we're looking at right here. I've had this piece since the Lego City layout in my basement, and this actually was a cutout for the telepost, or the telebeam, the thing that supports the ceiling in the basement. So that's funny. Who remembers that? That's okay. We're going to cover that with a Mills plate, so it doesn't matter that there's a hole there. But I can cut this piece down to 6 base plates wide, and same with that other piece there, so we can have the ground only as 2 base plates. I can reuse the sides, thankfully. I will have to shorten them because this is much longer than 3 base plates, so I'll have to do a cut there and a cut there. And I've got to do 1 cut here, and then I also have to shorten one of these, so that's another cut. And then the back has to be Frankensteined because I don't have a big piece that can span the entire back. So I'm gonna have to cut this one down to the same height as that. And I actually think it worked out. I don't have to cut the length of this one there, so that saved me a cut. And then I'm going to connect these using some metal fasteners on the back side, and then just have to move some of our 3D printed brackets off to the side, and then we can frame the whole thing. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of cutting, which is sort of annoying, but it is what it is. I don't want to go buy all new lumber, and even if I did go buy all new lumber, it'd still be a lot of cutting. So I may as well try and use the pieces of lumber that we have from the Bricksie wood pile. You know what? That wasn't too bad. Not bad at all. It was just 5 cuts. And here's our layout. So we've got our 2 side panels, 1 and 2. We got the back panel, which is 2 pieces, and then we've got the ground, which is 2 pieces. Got our blocks there that we're going to use as legs, got our fasteners and screws, and now it's time to assemble. Sorry that this video here is turning into a little bit of a construction video, but hey, that's the process. That's how we got to create this deep sea diorama. We got to get the wood foundation for it so that we can elevate it off the ground. We also got to get the backdrop for it so that we can give it a backdrop of blue base plates and just sort of frame this area. So the first thing I do is create a base for the deep sea area. I merge those 2 pieces of lumber together just by putting some of the blocks underneath and screwing it down to that. Makes a pretty rock solid surface. And now I am creating the backdrop. Gonna merge those 2 pieces of wood together using some of my metal fasteners. And it seems like I gotta strategically place this thing in there just because it's like the perfect height pretty much. Okay, I've run into my first problem here. This table was framed with 2x6s, whereas the main Lego City table was framed with 2x4s, meaning we don't have the same height clearance over here. So it turns out I've got to make 2 more cuts to the side panel so that we can fit them underneath this table here. No biggie, doesn't take very long to fix, just got to make some quick measurements there and mark some new cut lines. Now that I've got that problem solved, I can very easily just slide those side panels in and tack them in place, making sure to get this as square as possible. And I'm actually not screwing it all in right now because you never know. When we place the Lego in there, you might have to make some micro adjustments. But even if it's just loosely fitted lumber at this point, it's not the end of the world because it's all going to get covered with Lego. I'm glad that I decided to right align it with this leg here, just because that acts as an anchor. And I think we're more so going to be looking at it from this perspective. So trying to center it might be a bit weird. So yeah, we've got a little bit of a gap there, but I think that's okay. I might have to straighten it a little bit. It's not fastened in place right now. Well, it is just with like one screw on the back wall, which is actually pretty convenient too, because that back wall goes right up against the center brace of the table. So that acts as a nice support for it. So I'm gonna rely on those little 3D printed brackets. And then I also put my instruction manual boxes along the back of it there to brace it even further. Not that it's gonna be supporting any weight, and it's on the floor anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's the right size. I like the elongated version of the deep sea diorama. That's gonna be sweet. So the next thing I need to do is make sure that the Lego fits in there, make sure the math all lines up with the Lego math, which is always the trick, right? And if it doesn't, well, not the end of the world, because I mean, it's only fastened in there by like a couple screws. So it'd be easy just to micro adjust it. So once I start putting the mills plates in here, I realized that I should probably redo them all, because within the mills plates is a bunch of white brick, specifically 2x2, which I now need for the mountains. So I want to try and extract all that and change it. Also, not too happy with the size of these plates. I think it's going to be easier to have it in 3 different large panels. Making these changes is a pretty repetitive task, because the 16x16s on the higher section are lifted up by 7 bricks, but that means every tower that's created with the white brick is 7 bricks that we need for mountain construction, because we want to make the top snow covered. So it's definitely worth just going through, swapping out all of those white bricks with the colorful ones that we have in our inventory, so that we can better use them in the future. And as I do that, I'm also regrouping these base plates. Rather than having a 1x strip at the front, like a 1 base plate strip at the front, and then a strip of 2 wide base plates at the back, I think it's better to have 3 sections, which are 2x3 base plates, or 6 base plates total. And as I reconstruct these, I am coming up with a new layout as well, staggering the 16x16s at different heights. So we're gonna have a nice ridge line in the deep sea area. I feel like having different heights within the deep sea area is very important. So I wanted to create this main ridge line, and as you can see, it sort of curves in a U shape. So we're officially back to the point where we were at the beginning of this video with the old deep sea layout. We have the basic mills layout with the 2 different heights. We have the wood structure, but I want to go one step further, and I'm going to fill in the gap between the 16x16s and the rock panels. Now, this isn't as easy as you would think, because what I'm doing is actually creating towers of brick that are 5 bricks and 2 plates tall, and then I'm topping that with dark tan. So the top of the rock panel matches the top of the 16x16 elevated area, and the space that I'm filling in between the rock panel and the elevated space is also the same height as the rock panels. So I'm not bridging the plate from the elevated surface to the top of the rock panels, but rather I'm using 5 bricks, 2 plates for my supports, and that's going to put it at the same height, so it's in a brick dimension. So because I'm doing that, it's making it a little more difficult. Well, not really difficult, just more time consuming really. And I am filling in some of the gaps using some dark gray, because we're going to have 2 different main colors in the deep sea area for the ground. That is dark gray and also dark tan. I feel like that's good because it represents wet sand and also wet rock. But when we get around to fully detailing this thing, it is going to be covered with underwater vegetation, coral reef, critters, and all sorts of like sea life, and much, much, much more. But for now, I just want to get this mills work filled in, and believe me, it feels so good to get this done. It just looks so much more presentable. All of the colorful supporting brick underneath the mills work there is now concealed, and that just pulls it together so nicely. It actually looks like a deep sea or underwater scene now, so that is pretty sweet. You see what I mean about the height of these plates that bridge across to the 16x16s and the panels? They're at the same height. So there's not like this awkward plate that's bridging from here to the top of the rock panel and it's raising it 1 plate. So it's all flush now, which, you know, it was sort of a pain to do, but I feel like doing that was much better. You can see the two plates, the transparent red plates on top. So it's all bridged across and looks way better. So really happy with the outcome of that. That is beauty. And I love the fact that we have the two different heights within the deep sea area, and there will be more different height variations. For example, we can build up the back corners with another level, but there's no need to modify the millswork. And if we do, for example, add a raised area to the back here that's 116 by 16, well, then we can extract that 16 by 16 and raise it when the time comes and essentially do the same thing. But we could add more height, but the problem is if we add more height, it might be out of the shot when you're standing up, but I think it would be pretty cool. You'll probably notice that I did some more stuff in addition to placing it. I also added some of the sea life here. So we've got some sharks and some stingrays and this little setting right here along with the deep sea vessel, actually a couple of them, and then a couple minifigures as well. We've got some more sharks back there and also the octopus, the red one, and also the black one. Now this is not the finished product at all. So there's going to be a lot more to it than this, but I wanted to loosely fit this stuff just so it was there, just to make the point. And we also have a backdrop there, which is the blue base plates. It's all the blue base plates that we currently have in our stock, but we do need a total of 8 more, so 4 more right there, and 4 more on this side here. And then we need to cut a bunch in half, and we're gonna run them along the back as well. As you can see, there's space for some more half base plates all the way along the top there. So that will fill that in nicely with a blue backdrop, and we have the ability to detail that. Even if we wanted to go completely nuts, we could do something like that on the backdrop of it or cover it with the trans light blue tiles. That would be insane. And then it goes without saying that eventually we want to add a blue light under here as well. We'll just attach it to the underside of this table, run some power to it, and it'll light that up. And then we need to add like a copious amount of coral reef, and we need to detail these rocks in a big way as well with more slopes. I was using some dark gray brick and some dark gray plate. We have lots of plate, but we don't have a whole lot of brick right now, and we're virtually out of, no, we're not out of slopes. I guess I could have slope detailed it, but it's actually been a pretty long day. So I want to save the slope detailing and also just like other details for when we have all of the parts in stock and when I have more time as well. I did loosely place this here as well. I want to completely destroy this and rebuild it. It's just like a little Lego set. I want to build my own shipwreck for under here. So we're definitely going to add things like that in the deep sea area. But this is just like the base construction of it. And I love the look of it from here. Like, look at that. It is just so much better. Like, so much better than having it over there with the subway above it. That made no sense. So I think this is just so much better. It's so visible. I also love the new dimension of it as well. Like this 3 base plates by 6 base plates. That is just killer. And it looks amazing from upstairs too. Make my way up the stairs like this. You can just see it. And when we get the white wood covered with blue base plates and the light, it's gonna look sick. I'm stoked on that. We should do some more dioramas here, but hey, I've got the whole subway to do, I got the medieval to do, I've got the island to do, we've got mountains to do, Winter Village mountains to do, we got the amusement park to do, so no, we're not gonna do any more dioramas, but we definitely have space to do more in the future. Another thing I really like about it is the fact that when you're standing here, you can actually see the blue water because we only went 3 base plates deep. So I'm really happy that I did that. 5 was just too much. And we can still see it when we're standing up here as well. So I think it adds to the foreground of the city. And I put a piece of white wood there for now, but we are eventually going to black skirt all of that open space, and I'll get rid of that cabinet eventually, and we'll black skirt that. And then at the end game, we'll have diorama there. I don't know if it would be more deep sea. I don't think you need more deep sea, so I don't know what it would be. Something random maybe. Might be pretty cool. Yeah, so that was a very productive day. Like, getting the math of everything right with the woodwork was a task in its own. And then modifying all of the mills work and swapping out all the towers of 7 bricks, like, it took forever. But now we have a mountain of brick for the mountain, and I don't have to buy more. Like, that's how much we extracted pretty much. So that feels great. I am really happy with the outcome of that project. There we go, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Have a great day. Bye for now.